G'day guys, Riley from RD Auto Electrics and welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for joining us, and we're really excited to announce a brand new series on the channel. The series is titled The Ranger Rundown. Now, as you can probably gather from the title, this series is going to be about our new next-gen Ford Ranger build that we've recently completed. It's still a work in progress, but we're getting there. And in this series, we're going to give you a full tour of the vehicle. We're going to run through everything that we've fitted to the vehicle, from bar work, suspension, tyres, what power system we're running, canopy we're running, front to back. We're going to run through what gear we're running, why we're running it, and we're also going to be out getting some footage of the system, the canopy power system in action as well later in the series, which we look forward to. So we're going to kick things off with our first episode with just a general run around the vehicle, give you a look at the exterior and the interior, run you through what model the vehicle is, and just some of the basics like bar work, suspension and tyres. In the next episodes to come, we're obviously going to do a full walkthrough of the canopy, and then a complete episode just based on the power system, as it's quite a cool, complex system that's going to take a full episode to run through. So we're really excited to get stuck into this new series, guys. If you've got any questions about this build, feel free to drop them in the comments below. But thanks for joining us, and let's get stuck into getting a look around this vehicle. Just a quick bit of information on the motor. So the new next-gen Ford Ranger is available in two engine variants. Firstly, a twin-turbo 2-litre diesel, or the bi-turbo as Ford refer to it as, or the single-turbo 3-litre V6 diesel, which is the engine variant we've opted for in this one. So we decided to go the V6 just for that little bit more power, better for towing if we decide to obviously get something larger towing wise down the track. Really happy with it so far, plenty of power, reasonably good on fuel. Even as the vehicle sits now, we're still under 13 litres per 100, so about 12.8, which is pretty impressive. Less fuel than what the previous 3.2 litre diesel Ranger used that we had. And yeah, so far really impressed. So pretty well bone stock under there at the moment. We'll definitely look at doing some sort of tune later down the track if it becomes available. Obviously when the new Safari R-Max snorkel is released, we'll be running that. And we've already got the Manta 3-inch stainless exhaust fitted, which is DPF back. So yeah, just a quick rundown on the motor. So far so good, plenty of grunt, good power, good on fuel, nice and smooth. Behind it is a 10-speed automatic, and really happy with that too. Really smooth gear changes, you barely even feel it change between gears. It doesn't jump down gears when you hit a hill or anything like that. It holds really well, and it also has a towing mode as well, which helps hold those gears even a little bit more. But even just on the standard driving mode, the drivability of this thing is really nice. That V6 diesel with a 10-speed auto behind it, really good matchup by Ford, and really impressed with the drivability. Now just a brief look at the interior. Now we went with the XLT level, really happy with it. Nice cabin layout, all digital instrument cluster, dash cluster, and obviously this massive center screen display, and everything's done through that. So all your audio, climate control, Apple CarPlay, everything's done through that interface. So really neat and tidy. Yeah, really nice laid out interior, nice and spacious. Really happy with the design and layout. So that's a brief look into the interior, and we are going to jump into some of the accessories that we've got fitted now, starting at the front. So let's get into it. Alright, well now that we've had a run around the vehicle and a quick look through the interior, we're going to get onto some of the accessories that we're running. So front protection wise, we've opted for the ARB Sahara bar. Now this is available in a chrome top loop or a matte black top loop. We've opted for the matte black for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it looks really neat. Secondly, only with the black powder coat option do you have the added option of running the recessed ARB LED light bar in the top loop. I really like the idea, it looks really neat, keeps the rest of the bar open and free for airflow into your radiator, and just a really cool feature, something I haven't seen before. It's new to ARB as well, and it looks mint. They've really thought of everything. They've even got some slotted airflow openings in the back just to disperse some heat from the light bar, so really neat idea. As far as the bar fitment goes, really nice bar, follows the contour of the vehicle nicely, fits up really well. Obviously it's got your LED indicators and daytime running lights. The LED indicators are also sequential, which looks neat. Follows the lines of the vehicle really well, so really happy with the bar. Obviously ARB bar, they're not cheap, you get what you pay for, but really nice solid bar and really happy with it. Running the GME 2.1 dB antenna, also has an interchangeable whip to take it up to 6.6 for your long distance open road sort of touring as well. And that's pretty well it from the front. Kept things pretty simple. The only other thing I'm running is the genuine Ford bonnet protector, just for some stone chip protection for that front edge of the bonnet. But yeah, apart from that, it's pretty much it on the front end. Obviously the bar is winch compatible. Not currently running a winch, don't really plan to in the near future, but obviously the option's there if we decide to go that way as well. So we'll get on to the rims and tyres next. Alrighty, so on to our rim and tyre setup now. Every time we build a new vehicle, we try to run a bit of a different setup. So we're not just running the same setup, the same gear every time, because it gets boring. So we've previously ran BFG, Nitto, Maxxis. So this time we have decided to run something different and go for the Falcon Wildpeak AT3s. So far, so good, really happy with them. Obviously I've only done 5,000 Ks of on-road driving, so I haven't had a chance to test them off-road yet, but as far as on-road use goes, really happy, nice and quiet, good in the wet, no loss of traction in wet weather driving. So yeah, really happy with them so far. Size-wise, we're running 285 7017s, which is around a 33 inch off the top of my head. So yeah, the fitment's really good. We do have some front flares coming just for the front, just because it's got a tiny bit of poke. We couldn't push them in any further because of the upper control arm on the inside. They're already pretty close, but it's nothing major that can't be covered by a small flare, which is already on the way. I think they're around 30 mil, and that'll flush with the guard really nicely. So rim wise, we've kept it nice and simple, running the 17x8 dynamic steel rim. Not everyone's cup of tea, I know. I've already had a few messages saying, why aren't you running alloys? Realistically, we just like to keep it simple. They are a nice strong wheel, easy to keep clean, nice and basic, and that's enough for us. We've ran them on our last 3 vehicles now and been happy with them, and personally I don't see the benefit in spending bucket loads of money on alloys if you're going to be taking the vehicle off-road anyway. So my personal preference is to just run a nice simple steel rim, so that's what we've opted for again this time. So that's our rim and tyre system, guys. We'll get stuck into the suspension now. Alright, so on to the suspension setup now. So we're running a Dobinson suspension system. We had it supplied and fitted by Malaga Suspensions in Perth. We did actually run Dobinson on our previous Ranger. But this time we've opted for the IMS shocks. So they sort of sit in between their base range and their remote resi, so pretty much in the middle. So it's pretty much the remote resi shock without the reservoir. So yeah, really happy with the ride. It rides really well. Height wise, we've gone 3-inch front, 2-inch rear, just to level it out a little bit, because from factory they ride a little bit high in the back. So we just wanted to level that out, and it's sitting pretty good now. Still has to go back for some adjustments, and also to have the extended sway bar link fitted as well. But yeah, all in all, really happy with it. So yeah, the IMS shocks. Then in the rear, we're running 500 kilo constant load rear springs, just because obviously the constant weight that we carry with the canopy. If you had a vehicle where you were taking weight in and out and you didn't always have the weight there, you definitely wouldn't want to run a spring set rated to that sort of capacity, because it's going to ride really rough when the weight's out. But with us, the weight is obviously on there all the time. We've always got the work gear in the ute. So really the only difference is obviously adding some water when we're heading away. But it's always carrying a constant weight, and quite a heavy constant weight. So that sort of spring set is perfect for this setup. It rides really comfortably. We've also got the ARB long range tank in there as well, which is 140 litres. So obviously we've got up to 140 kilos in fuel on board as well. So having an upgraded suspension system when you're running a setup like this is an absolute must. When we had the canopy fitted, it was actually done before the suspension went in, and you could barely drive the car. The factory wheels were pretty much pushing up inside the guard on factory suspension. So adding this sort of weight suspension upgrade is absolutely crucial. We put all the weight on the vehicle before we got the suspension done, so that way we could get the suspension set right, rather than putting the suspension in before we had any weight, not knowing how much weight was actually going on the vehicle, and then we wouldn't have been able to get the suspension ride and height set right. But by doing it that way around, put all the weight on it, then get the suspension done, they can obviously then set the front adjustable system. They can set that up perfectly to match how the back's sitting. So because the front is an adjustable strut, so they can actually adjust that height between 2 and about 3.5 inches. So that way they can put the rear springs in, see how the back's sitting, and then adjust the front to match that. So yeah, really happy with the setup. Malaga suspension have been great to deal with. So yeah, that's our suspension rundown. Well, that's it for our first episode of our Ranger Rundown series, guys. Once again, we'd like to really thank you for joining us. Thanks for supporting the channel, and we really look forward to our next episode. So what can we expect in the next episode? Well, we are going to give you a look inside the new canopy system. We're going to run you through what canopy we're running, why we're running it, and some of its features. We're not going to get too much into the power system, because that's going to be in our third episode, but we really look forward to giving you a look through the canopy, some of the features that it has, and in that episode as well we'll get stuck into the awning and shower tent that we're running as well. So we look forward to that episode. As we said, thanks again for joining us, guys, and we look forward to catching you on the next episode.